Welcome to This Week in West Hempstead, sponsored this week by Creative Corner. Here are your hosts, David and Norm. Take it away, gentlemen.
Thanks, Dan, and how you doing, Norm?
Good. Nice hat, Dave.
Yeah. Hey, we're all got the hats on. Echo, echo, echo. So this is where we are. We got our logo. We'll be around town, and let us know what's going on.
Yep.
So, the biggest question that I have is it ever going to snow? I mean, global warming, snow blowers tuned up. I don't really think it matters. Kind of took a look at the long-term forecast, and as far as I can tell, there's no snow at least through the end of January. So, I mean, it's good if you don't like shoveling, but not so good because it's just kind of weird.
It is weird. This is the latest I think they've ever had snow.
No snow.
Measurable no snow, yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy. So, crime. We've been talking about crime. It's obviously an issue in our community. And I found this map that I want to go to in a second, but I was just listening on the radio about something that happened in Roosevelt Fields. It was a shoplifting. Two guys went into a store. They went out. They went through the mall. They were chased by people from the store. The cops set up a perimeter around Roosevelt Field, caught the guys. One of the guys ran. I believe, if I remember correctly, he pulled a gun, but the cop pulled his taser first and was able to tase him, bring him down. Roosevelt Field is our mall. It's right in our backyard.
One of our malls.
A little bit of wild, wild west over there, isn't it?
Yeah, so,
it's always been a tough place.
Crime is just out of control. So while I was doing some research, I came across this site called crimegrade.org. And basically what it does is it measures crime almost on a block-by-block basis, and it overlays data and it overlays AI, and it comes up with some very interesting statistics. So if you go to the computer here, what you'll see is really amazing as it relates to Hempstead. First of all, for the most part, the color grades are A, C, and F. Fortunately, nothing is F. If you lived in F, you'd be F'd. C is a little not so bad, and then you got your A. So if you look at West Hempstead right here, the first thing you'll notice is that basically almost all of Hempstead is kind of like in a B-ish kind of area, with a few notable exceptions. The first big one is the whole Dogwood area is in a dark, like A+ area. I don't get it. Why is all of this, perfect? And, areas like
the West Hempstead's a little bit more low rent or something.
It could be. And, actually, to your point, if you look at the map even closer and you look at the areas between Maple, Elm, going up, heading north towards Chestnut, you see that little area has a dark green, and that's because you got the high rent area houses in our section that somehow corresponds to lower crime. So, I don't get it. It's a very interesting map. What it really shows is that, even though there are some areas in town that are doing well, others aren't. Overall, we know crime is up. It's still a huge problem.
I wonder, actually, I don't know if this is the case, but I wonder if there's more security cameras in some of the, quote, nicer, unquote, parts of towns or something that cuts down on it. I don't know.
It could be. I was even thinking of statistics, and again, I know nothing about this map and the credibility outside of looking at it. And one of the things that I noticed, and since we all live in West Hempstead, is that the Dogwood section and also the area in Maple and Elm, they have larger plots of land, which also means that the house densities for those areas are not as great as other areas, which also could just be statistically why they're showing up with having better numbers than us. I know it sounds a little bit weird, but I don't know. Or it could just be that the cops patrol areas that have the $1 million houses.
I'll bet they just lock their cars in Franklin Square. And we don't. The majority of our crime is car-related, right? Break-ins, car theft. Thank God, nothing usually heavy. But this is a big problem.
Big problem, ongoing problem, and Well, speaking of issues, so the prices of eggs. So we were very fortunate to have some amazing interviews, which we hope to bring you very, very soon. One of them was with the owner of I&D, and the other is with the ownership of Restorers. And one thing that they both had in common, outside of being across the street from each other, is they were both really pissed off about the price of eggs. It seems to be going off the roof.
Yeah, a lot of it they can't pass along. I mean, they don't want to pass along. So they went from paying $1.50 to $5 a dozen wholesale. That's a big number, a huge number, especially imagine how many eggs they go through in a week. It's partly based on this bird flu. The largest bird flu in the history of the United States required them to destroy 52.7 million birds. I don't know what that translates to eggs, but obviously it made a major impact, maybe 15, 17% impact on the egg supply, and that drove it through the roof.
Unbelievable. Outside of inflation, but certainly, wow, those numbers on bird flu are just unbelievable.
Yeah.
So in our community, we're fortunate enough to have a Chabad organization, and that organization continues to grow. And if you go on our site, you'll see that there's an article where Chabad has announced a $1 million plus expansion of their institution. Pretty amazing.
Yeah, well, they're bursting at the seams. They took over a house, they renovated it, so I think they've got no place else to go but off-site.
Yeah, so we look forward to hearing more news about Chabad, and I assume they'll be going through fundraising and trying to secure everything that's needed to expand. But, you know, as the community expands, it's great to see that our religious institutions are expanding as well.
Well, there are a number of them expanding now. At least 3 synagogues are expanding, and there's a new school being built for the Hebrew Academy that will probably take off in the next month or two. So the community is expanding, and the building and infrastructure is expanding with it.
Great. And, you know, with all that expansion, if you want to get the heck out of town and you realize that your passport is not up to date, we got some news on how you can get it updated.
Yeah,
right
they
now.
have Weekend Passport Day. This is really helpful because you can walk into the town of Hempstead. They will hold your hand, accept your application. They have somebody to certify it for you. I think it's from the government. It's by appointment only, so you need to be prepared when you go down there. It's on February 11th from 9 to 3. It's a Saturday. You could go to travel.state.gov and download the application. Bring it in with you. Do not sign it. You have to sign it in front of a witness, a government witness. So once you do that, you also have to bring with you ID and proof of citizenship or proof of address. So once you have that, these people will walk it through you. You'll be done, and you'll have your passport for you and your family before the summer.
And I will say I have just done this to renew my kids' passports, which were expired. Very important to pay attention. If you'd see the flyer, they probably call this out. You need to have proof of identification for the children as well. So if your kids are below the age of, I believe it's 15 or 16 years old, you have to have a certified birth certificate, not just a copy of it. If they've got existing passports, bring those along. Bring your checkbook, because you have to write checks off to both the State Department as well as the town of Hempstead for processing fees. All that's universal. They're not charging anything more or less than anybody else would, like if you go to the post office. So just make sure before you do all of this, because I went through this, just make sure you've got all the documentation, the checks, whatever else you need to have with you to just get this all sorted out.
Right, you'll find that online when you go to the website travel.state.gov.
All right, so that's some great information brought to you by Hempstead Town, and we really appreciate them giving us that passport service. And I think that'll wrap it up for this week in West Hempstead. Thank you, Norm. Thank you, Dan. And we look forward to bringing you everything that impacts you in West Hempstead on a weekly basis. Thank you.
Take care.
Once again, as always, thank you for watching. Check out our cool hats, because they're there now. If you'd like to sponsor this or our other programs, please reach out to us at sales@westhempsteadecho.com.